Across the vast span of the Orion Arm, countless civilizations thrived under the guidance of the Galactic Concord. For millennia, it was a peaceful union, or so it was believed. Yet beneath the veneer of harmony, power and fear ruled every decision. The Council believed themselves the pinnacle of civilization, the rightful shepherds of all sentient life. To them, humanity was a dangerous anomaly that needed to be controlled, silenced, and eventually erased. At first, the Council underestimated the Terrans. Humans were new to the stars, loud, unpredictable, driven by emotion and curiosity. They didn't fit the delicate political dances of the elder species. Where others built empires through patience, humans leaped through wormholes with reckless ambition. Where others debated for centuries over a single law, humans acted, built, and adapted. The Council tolerated them, at least until the humans refused to kneel. It began with trade disputes. The resource-rich colonies of Sol's neighboring systems produced metals and energy that rivaled entire sectors. When humans refused the Council's tariffs, they were sanctioned. When they still resisted, fleets were sent to enforce compliance. Yet the humans did not surrender. They fought with the desperation of a people who had clawed their way up from extinction more than once. The first battle shocked the galaxy. The Council's destroyers expected an easy victory, but human ships moved like living things, reacting, adapting, sacrificing. Their captains didn't retreat when outgunned. They rammed. They detonated. They turned the void into a graveyard of burning wrecks. For every Terran ship lost, 2 of the enemy vanished in light and flame. The Council labeled it barbaric. Humanity called it survival. The war dragged on for decades. The Council had numbers, but humanity had something else. Resolve born from 1,000 ages of struggle on a world that never forgave weakness. The oceans had tried to drown them. The mountains had frozen them. The beasts had hunted them. Yet through it all they endured. That same endurance now blazed among the stars. But power attracts fear. The Council couldn't destroy humanity militarily, so they turned to deceit. They offered peace talks on neutral ground, a promise of coexistence. The Terran diplomats came unarmed, trusting the treaty. The meeting ended with betrayal. Every human representative was slaughtered. The Council called it an accident. The humans called it the breaking point. From that moment, humanity vanished. The colonies went dark. No transmissions, no ships, nothing. Entire systems emptied overnight. The other species celebrated, believing they had crushed the defiant world before it became too powerful. For a century, silence reigned. The stars forgot the name of Earth. The Council declared a new age of peace, convinced the threat had been buried. Then the shaking began. It started at the edge of the Perseus Rift, an ancient battlefield from the Human Council War. Stations monitoring the sector reported distortions, gravitational anomalies, then nothing. Fleets sent to investigate vanished without a trace. Months later, signals began to echo across subspace, coded in frequencies long thought obsolete. The Council's historians recognized them, old human distress beacons, repeating coordinates in the forgotten language of Earth. When the first fleet reached the coordinates, they found something impossible. A single human ship floating in the void. It was colossal, kilometers long, blacker than shadow, its surface absorbing every beam of light. There were no life signs, yet power pulsed within its core like a heartbeat. As the ships approached, the vessel awoke. Without warning, it spoke in a voice that resonated across comms and hulls alike. You should not have broken faith. Then the ship moved. What followed was not a battle. It was an erasure. Energy weapons melted, shields failed, and every ship within range vanished in a single burst of light. The Council called it an act of terror. The humans called it justice. Soon more of the great ships appeared, each bearing names from Earth's myths: Leviathan, Behemoth, Nemesis, Ragnarok. Entire fleets descended upon Council worlds. But these were not invasions for conquest. They targeted shipyards, prisons, and slave planets where humanity's allies had suffered. Wherever they struck, they freed, not conquered, and the freed world spoke a single truth. Humanity had returned. Rumors spread that Earth itself had become something beyond understanding. Hidden for centuries, shielded behind fields that bent space and time, it was said to be a fortress world, alive and sentient, guiding its children. Explorers who approached claimed to see the skies burning with auroras of defense grids, continents reshaped into weapons, oceans glowing with artificial life. None who reached orbit ever returned. Inside the halls of the council, panic reigned. The elder species, once so confident, now trembled as they watched their empires crumble. A single human transmission echoed across every network, simple and direct. You taught us fear. Now we return it to you. Across the galaxy, resistance movements rose, inspired by the human resurgence. On 100 worlds, those once enslaved by council power took up arms. They painted their armor with the colors of Earth, chanting an ancient phrase from humanity's forgotten wars: no mercy for tyrants. The council tried to sue for peace. They sent envoys begging for negotiation. The humans didn't answer. Instead, they unleashed something no one had ever seen: a ripple across space-time itself. Stars dimmed, wormholes collapsed. Artificial worlds built by the council cracked apart. The human fleet did not fire a single shot. They simply rewrote physics itself. The scientists of the other races could not explain it. They said it was impossible for any species to manipulate the fabric of reality. Yet the truth was older than their science. Humanity had not been idle in their silence. They had delved into the ancient ruins of the first civilizations, unearthed secrets buried since the dawn of the cosmos, and learned that the galaxy's so-called elder races were children playing with fragments of power they could never comprehend. When the council's last stronghold, a world of crystal, spires and endless light, fell, its rulers finally understood. Humanity had not evolved like the others. They had returned. Long before the current age, before the rise of the council, before the first stars of the spiral arm had even cooled, there had been a species that shaped galaxies, that built the great networks and seeded life across the stars. When their age ended, they disappeared, leaving relics and myths scattered in the void. The scholars of every race had called them the ancients. The humans called them ancestors. Now that truth broke across the galaxy like a storm. Humanity was not a new race. They were the old one reborn, the remnants of the architects who had once ruled creation itself. Their return was not vengeance. It was correction. In the ruins of the council chamber, a single recording remained. It showed the human envoy standing before the shattered dais of the once great rulers. His face was calm, his voice steady. We offered peace. You answered with betrayal. We offered mercy. You answered with deceit. Now we offer truth. The universe is not yours to command. It never was. You merely borrowed it while we slept. Behind him, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The shockwaves of humanity's ascendance rippled through space, igniting new suns, tearing apart ancient constructs, rewriting the paths of worlds. Every species watched in awe and terror as the new order emerged. The humans did not occupy. They did not rule. They simply left warnings in orbit around every major world. Do not enslave. Do not deceive. Do not forget who watches. Then they were gone, vanishing into the dark between galaxies. Centuries later, explorers would find monuments on forgotten worlds, massive structures of black stone engraved with the same phrase in every known language. They pushed humanity too far. Now the universe shakes. And still, in the cold silence between stars, some claim to hear the echo of human ships passing unseen, their engines whispering through the void. The younger races told their children stories about the Deathworlders from Sol, the ones who fought gods and won, the ones who burned their world's sky to reach the stars, and who taught the galaxy that fear is not power, will is. For the galaxy had learned its final lesson. You could mock humanity. You could betray them. You could even try to erase them. But you could never ever break them. For when humans are pushed too far, the universe itself remembers how to tremble.